Hello, my name is Kiana Callis, and today I will be presenting on dependability for my quality of character presentation. Now, what does dependability consist of? Growing up in the world of sports at a young age, I had a variety of coaches and experiences ranging from the best to not so great. I learned from the young age of 10 what a great coach consists of. A coach who embodies dependability must first possess respect, trust, and show reliability to their athletes. And with these three components, it shows that you can be dependable. Dependability starts with trust. If people around you don't trust you 100%, then they will have a hard time taking your word when it comes to getting things done. But trust is not given, it is earned, and that is through actions. I'm sure we've all heard this phrase before, but actions speak louder than words. This leads into being reliable. If the leader, coach, or athlete cannot hold true to their promises, then they are deemed unreliable. A leader who was willing to make sacrifices for their team or players and put others' needs before theirs. That is what dependability looks like in it with a leader, whether they're a coach or an athlete. The opportunity to work side by side with highly motivated athletes and coaches in an atmosphere of mutual respect, trust, and dependence is unique and priceless. Bruce Brown said this in his book, Teaching Character Through Sport. As coaches, we get the honor of working with athletes, and this quote talks so much about the wonders of mutual respect, trust, and dependence, which creates an environment that both athletes and coach can thrive in. If a coach is willing to be vulnerable to their athletes, it will lead to trust and respect built, and then your athletes will know that they can depend on you. So, what does dependability look like? I'm going to give a few examples from the coach's point of view. The characteristic of dependability is important for a coach to possess because it shows their athletes what a trustworthy adult looks like and sets an example for them later on. When a coach is dependable, they make a commitment to their athlete and are willing to make sacrifices for the needs of their players. Showing commitment to your athletes and willingness to make sacrifices builds that trust I talked about. A dependable coach creates meaningful relationships that build trust and accountability with both parties. What I love about coaching is the relationships built, and I always make it a point to reach out to each of my athletes, getting to know them deeper. Creating those meaningful relationships further builds that trust, which translates to holding each other accountable for their actions. A dependable coach is responsive to the needs of others. It's important for coaches to recognize when an athlete needs our help or extra support. When a coach exhibits these traits, it increases their dependability among their athletes because they have proven to be a solid support system. As coaches, we get the chance to be stable adult figures in our athletes' life that they may need. So, let's apply dependability in coaching. If you're wondering, how can I become dependable? How can I possess this trait and to be developed? Here are a few points. Keep promises. This will create trust. Growing up, having promises broken causes mistrust and showing that words don't mean anything. Again, actions speak louder than words, and if coaches can keep promises that were made, it forms a bond and a trust. Hold self accountable. Own up to the mistakes that have been made. This will also create respect because it shows that you aren't afraid of making mistakes and admitting when wrong was done. Be timely and respect other people's time. This is big. If we expect our athletes to be on time, we must do the same. And we must respect others' time because waste of time is no fun. And lastly, model wanted behavior, which bounces off the last point that I mentioned. We must model the wanted behavior at all times if we expect our athletes to do the same for us. As John Wooden said, young people need models, not critics. This quote is perfect because Coach Wooden is the golden standards for how coaches should be. As coaches, we look at what Coach Wooden did at his time at UCLA. And as coaches, we forget that the athletes may be facing adversity outside of the gym or field, and that we need to be role models for them. We can show them how to be respectable, functioning adults we can show them how a respectable, functioning adult looks like and inspire them to be just like us. So, how do athletes learn how to be dependable? And how can us as coaches teach our athletes and mentor them to be dependable? As I said, as coaches, how do we mentor student athletes to be dependable? Set expectations early. It's important at the beginning of the season to lay out expectations. With laying out expectations, it is important to discuss the values you cherish so they understand what is important to you. Secondly, being early is on time. Growing up, being on time equaled being late. So teach your athletes to be early for everything. So it doesn't keep people wondering if they're really going to show up. Staying present. Being in the now is so important for athletes to learn and to teach them to not dread mistakes in the past or to think too far ahead that they lose focus on what is happening. I tell my athletes to leave their worries at the door the moment they walk into the playing field and focus what is happening right in front of them. Number 4, give maximum effort at all times. Showing up and giving your 100% shows your teammates that you are dependable because the effort is always there. I tell my athletes, give me 100% of whatever they have that day and I'm happy. So if they're only feeling about 70% themselves, give me 100% of that 70%. And lastly, strive to make your teammates better. It should always be the goal to make the people around you better and that they can elevate their efforts to set. Should always be the goal to make the people around you better, and they can do that by elevating their efforts to set an example for their peers. This quote says a lot in such few words. So Maya Angelou said, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. The impact people can have, especially coaches, can leave an everlasting impression, and this quote really sums it up. If coaches and leaders and athletes show up for others, it can create a domino effect, causing others to want to show up for the people around them. In Luke 6:31, it says, as you wish that others would do to you, do so to them. Jesus is a prime example of dependability. He built trust and respect among the people and proved he was reliable by staying true to his word. So, why is it important to possess this trait as a coach and as a leader among athletes? Dependability is important for coaches and leaders among athletes to possess because it creates an environment that was built on trust, respect, and reliability. Without trust, respect, and reliability, it can lead to broken programs, and being dependable is what coaches should strive for. To conclude, dependability is an essential trait for a coach and leaders to possess. This lays down the foundation of mutual respect, trust, and reliability. If coaches strive to possess this trait, it will help their athletes find success in all areas of life. Thank you for your time today.